friends and family. Everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
First of all, I'd like to thank all the clergy here helping us celebrate Mom's life. Thank you all for coming to celebrate my mother, Betty's life. Before I start, I ask you all to send some prayers to Monsignor Lasante, lovingly known as Father Jim. Unfortunately, he could not make it here today, but has served in many of our family sacraments, and he's a huge part of my mother's faith and relationship to God, which was very important to her. I'm sorry if I start crying, it's because I still hear Allie Pay's voice in my head. So, or maybe I got it all out, so thank you. Again, thank you for taking the time to remember my mother, Elizabeth Ann Long Lang, also known as Betty, Mom, Grandma, Grandma, and Mama Betty. I'm sure there are some people here today that were scared of my mother. She had a knack to make some people nervous. If she liked you, she loved you. If she didn't, well, good luck. My mother had a very strong energy. When working together at Mercy Hospital, I would hear, "Oh, that's your mother? I love Mama Betty. She's the best." Or I would hear, "Oh, that's your mother." Well, that's because she didn't take attitude from anyone. Mom gave off a frequency that from afar made some people afraid to approach her, like she can sense their fear. The trick was, as you got closer to her, that frequency changed, and it was calm. If she let you get close, there was nothing but love and comfort. She can make anyone feel loved. Whether you're a coworker looking for advice, a friend looking for a laugh, family looking for some food or some company, or a child looking for a hug, she was there for you with love. And there were plenty of hugs and plenty of kids. Between her 8 grandchildren, 18 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild, and the many kids she babysat for, she was always surrounded by kids. It was there that she was in her element. You see, Mom possessed a superpower. She can take the crankiest, most misbehaved or injured child and get them to fall asleep on it. It may have been because of her soft, comfy, curvy body, or the hypnotic la-la song we all sing to our children now. But it was a special gift. Even as adults, myself and my siblings would lay with her on our visits. She would hold a stranger and make them feel as though they were being held by their own mother.
Yes.
There are so many lives that my mother has comforted throughout her own life. Her life began on December 28, 1938 in Brooklyn. The first child to Richard and Bernice Maughan. She had 4 siblings: Sister Margaret Mary, a Dominican nun, aka Peggy, Bernice, aka Snooky, Richard, and Robin. The family moved to Rockwell Center early on. They also lived a brief time in Lima, Peru before returning to Rockwell Center and attending Southside High School. She met my father, Stephen Peter Lang. They married in 1963 and moved to Virginia, where he was an officer in the Marines. There they welcomed their first child, Elizabeth Ann, in 1964. The family of 3 moved to San Diego, where they welcomed their second child, Stephen Thomas, in 1965. Then they moved to North Carolina and welcomed the next 3 kids, Jennifer Ann in 1967, and Christopher Michael in 1968, true Irish twins, 10 months apart. In 1970, Janine Marie was born, making it 5 children. Mom had her hands full, when my father served overseas, but enjoyed time hosting parties for the military families in their home. In 1972, the family returned to Rockwell Center and had 3 more children: William Francis Pio in 1976, Marlene Marie in 1978, and last but certainly not least, James Long in 1978. We were all born in Mercy Hospital, where my mother volunteered and later worked for 25 years as the ER unit secretary in Northridge. As if 8 kids were not enough, she would babysit for other kids whose parents worked in the daytime, all after finishing her full-time overnight shift. Mom is literally the strongest person I know. By the way, if you do the math on all her pregnancies, my mother spent over 6 years of her life pregnant. My mother would later retire from Mercy and dedicate herself spending time with her children and grandchildren, spending time in Massapequa Park, Virginia, New Hampshire, Island Park, and ultimately Long Beach, where she had the chance to meet her great-grandchild Anthony. She was so happy that day. From 1938 to 2024, there are so many wonderful stories to tell, which leads me to a poem by Linda Ellis that I would like to read. It is new to me, but some of you may have heard it before. Even so, I think it's worth getting reminded. I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from beginning to end. He noted that the first came the date of her birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love, and how we spend our days. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that still can be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel. And be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect, and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your life? I know that I am so proud of Mom and how she spent her dash. It's because of her that 8 children, 18 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild have the opportunity to experience this life. I encourage you all to think of some special moments that you spent with Mom, Grandma, Betty, and Mama Betty. There are too many for me to mention, but I'd just like to name a few. Our huge family holiday dinners at 64 Hempstead Avenue on that long dining room table. Watching sports with her, especially hockey, with Mom's shouts and outbursts at every shot on goal. When we would all sleep in the living room together on a hot summer night because it had air conditioning. And my absolute favorite, quietly sitting on the front porch, especially during storms, sheltered and peaceful. It is never easy saying goodbye. I was lucky enough to be with my wife and my brothers and my sisters when we did. As she was going through her transformation from this physical world to be with the Holy Spirit, we all had a chance to speak to her. I told her, Mom, it's okay. You can go in peace. Have no regrets. You did amazing. We all love you, and we all love each other. I love you, Mom. And as long as I'm in this physical world, there's a hole in my heart that will never be filled. I miss you.